Hello, I'm Cynthia McCallister, the founder of Education for Tomorrow. Education for Tomorrow is an organization of educators and education stakeholders committed to the dramatic restructuring of schools. I'll tell you a little bit about what we stand for and how it began. I'm a mother, wife, longtime teacher, professor, school reformer, educational innovator, writer, and designer. For the last 2 decades, I worked closely with teachers, students, and school leaders to help them make improvements to curriculum and instruction in ways that are more engaging and effective for students. Through these years, I also read extensively about psychology, literacy, and the learning sciences. By weaving together theory and practice, I've created a model of education that provides the blueprint for a dramatically different way of doing school. This model, what I call learning cultures, has been implemented in about a dozen New York City public schools, and it's led to dramatic gains in rates of student achievement. But achievement on state exams is an outcome of the work, not a primary goal. And in this work, success is not defined by test scores. You can learn more about the model on the Learning Cultures Facebook page. Learning cultures is the approach to instruction that we at Education for Tomorrow use to support school success and improvement. What makes Education for Tomorrow unique as a learning management organization is how we define success and improvement. First and foremost, any person only learns things for which they have a sense of purpose and a reason to take action. In learning cultures, students have opportunities to expand their awareness of the things they care about and exercise independence and autonomy all throughout the school day to take part in activities that help them reach their goals. Students take leadership and responsibility in setting goals and organizing their work. They learn how to think in the company of others, to shift and share perspectives, and to think creatively by learning how to engage others in thinking about problems and challenges. School is collaborative and fun. In all the schools where these practices have been implemented, significant student achievement outcomes have been documented. You can learn about these schools on the Education for Tomorrow Facebook page. I founded Education for Tomorrow in order to help organize change-minded educators, parents, academics, and others who are interested in being a part of this movement. All roads lead to where we stand. Song lyrics written by Don McLean help me position my work. The roads I took over the course of my journey have led me to try to play a pivotal role in rethinking and revising progressive education practices in order to make them relevant to the needs of people of the 21st century. I was born in 1960 when behaviorism was at its height, at the cusp of the cognitive revolution, and at the dawn of school desegregation. As a school child who attended a progressive school, I experienced firsthand the joy of freedom in my educational experience. But at the period of progressivism that I entered, educators had not yet begun to address the dilemma of how to ensure that students, when provided freedom of choice and activity, make choices that result in the achievement of high learning standards. Sometimes the freedoms we were afforded deteriorated into wasted time and tasks that didn't amount to very much learning. Other times, teachers, at a loss for how to make free time rigorous, created a somewhat schizophrenic curriculum in which the ideology of freedom was bracketed out of isolated activities that were based on classical transmission methods of instruction. During my years as a student and teacher, the education worlds I inhabited were organized around the polarities of skills and rigor on one hand and freedom but lack of rigor on the other. But all the while, scientists were working away on developing theories of thinking, learning, and consciousness that would help resolve this dualism. I was a graduate student in the late 20th century when the internet became freely available and when the desktop computer literally began to be a commonplace feature on every student's desktop. As the information explosion began, I was, still am, an adult who is challenged to cope with a daily avalanche of new information and to learn constantly evolving technologies. I was a mother and teacher in schools when new insights from science and philosophy began to shift theoretical paradigms away from individualist-oriented, rational empirical paradigms towards socio-cultural ways of viewing human existence.
and the educational challenges I faced with my own children and with the students I worked with in schools made me keen to use these scientific insights to rethink how schools work. With one foot in the 20th century and the other in the 21st, all the while embracing and advancing education approaches that honor students' subjective experiences in school, while also trying to ensure that school experiences provide opportunities needed to be successful later in life, I realize my work, Learning Cultures, has become a vehicle to bring progressive education into the 21st century. I hope that you, as a student of mine, appreciate your important role in being part of this forward movement.
Or if you can't be a part of Education for Tomorrow, I would hope that you would continue to follow us and to support us in our work.
The cultures of our world have never faced a more perilous future. There has never been a time in the history of humanity when the decisions to be made about the challenges we together face have been so consequential
to such a huge representation of the world's human population.
There's never been a time when a method of education that supports agency, creative problem solving, cooperation, and self-determination has been so vitally important. Given the import of our work, it's my deepest hope that more and more educators will join us on this important journey and that the road rises up to meet us.